Trump just claimed Biden's FBI caused January 6th, when Trump was president. If you're confused, wait until you hear what he's really after. I need you to sit with something absolutely wild for a second. Donald Trump just posted on Truth Social that the Biden FBI planted 274 agents in the January 6th crowd to incite the insurrection. The Biden FBI, on January 6, 2021, when Donald Trump was president. Let that sink in for a moment. The man who was literally sitting in the Oval Office that day, the guy whose entire goal was to stop Joe Biden from becoming president, just blamed Joe Biden for orchestrating the attack. It's not a typo, it's not a slip, and honestly, I'm not sure what's worse, that Trump genuinely forgot he was president during his own attempted power grab, or that he thinks you're dumb enough to believe this obvious lie. Either way, we need to talk about what's actually happening here, because this isn't just another unhinged rant. This is Trump laying the groundwork for something darker. Let's start with the facts, because they matter. Last Friday, two right-wing outlets, Just the News and The Blaze, ran stories claiming the FBI had 274 agents in plainclothes at the Capitol on January 6th. According to Politico, The Blaze cited an unnamed source. Just the News posted a document that doesn't actually back up their claim. Here's what we actually know from the Department of Justice Inspector General report last year. The FBI did send hundreds of agents to the Capitol that day, but they were there to push back against the mob and investigate pipe bombs planted outside the DNC and RNC headquarters. The report also found that 26 FBI confidential informants were in the crowd. But here's the key part. Almost all of them showed up without telling the Bureau ahead of time, and none were instructed to instigate or participate in violence. The IG found no evidence that the FBI placed undercover employees in the protest crowds or at the Capitol on January 6th. Zero. None. So what's Trump doing with this debunked conspiracy theory? He's weaponizing it, and he's doing it in the most brazen way possible. Think about the sheer audacity here. Trump was the president on January 6th. The FBI reported to his Department of Justice, his Attorney General, his administration. If the FBI really had planted hundreds of agents to incite a riot, Trump would have been the one ordering it. But instead of acknowledging that basic timeline, Trump writes on Truth Social, "Do something, President DJT." Wait, do something? He's giving himself orders. No, he's not talking to himself. He's talking to Pam Bondi, his current Attorney General. This is the third piece of this puzzle, and it's the most dangerous one. Trump isn't just spreading conspiracy theories for fun. He's issuing directives, publicly and privately, to his Attorney General, telling her exactly who to prosecute. We found out just days ago, courtesy of the Wall Street Journal, that Trump had been sending what he thought were private messages to Bondi on Truth Social. Messages demanding she go after James Comey, Adam Schiff, New York Attorney General Letitia James, basically everyone who's ever held him accountable. In one message he wrote, "Justice must be served now. They impeached me twice and indicted me 5 times over nothing." Legal analyst Marias pointed out the absurdity. Trump is using Truth Social DMs, about as secure as shouting from a street corner, to issue orders to the Attorney General. That's a violation of the Presidential Records Act, which requires all presidential communications to be preserved. But the bigger issue is what Trump is demanding. He's picking out his political opponents and ordering Bondi to prosecute them. Not because they committed crimes, because they investigated him, because they challenged him, because his reputation is suffering. That's not how the Justice Department is supposed to work. And here's why this matters to you, even if you're not a politician or an FBI director. When the president corrupts the Justice Department, everyone loses. Former Congressman Dan Goldman, who was a federal prosecutor, explained it perfectly. Good prosecutors bringing good cases need juries and judges to trust they're acting on the up and up. But when Trump openly uses the DOJ as a weapon against his enemies, every defendant in every case can now claim they're the victim of political persecution. How do we tell the difference between a legitimate prosecution and a vendetta? We can't. Not reliably. Not anymore. That means guilty people might walk free because juries don't trust prosecutors. Innocent people might be targeted because they said something Trump didn't like. And the entire system of checks and balances collapses. That's not speculation. That's what happens when the rule of law becomes optional. Now, let me address the obvious counter-argument. What if there really were FBI agents in the crowd that day? Fair question. Let's steelman it. The IG report did confirm 26 confidential informants were present, but informants aren't FBI employees. They're civilians who sometimes provide tips. And the report explicitly said they weren't there on orders and didn't incite violence. Even if you don't trust that report, think about the timeline. If Trump believes the FBI orchestrated January 6th, he's admitting his own administration committed a crime against him. Does that make any sense? No. Because it's not about sense. It's about laying a pretext, no matter how flimsy, to justify going after his enemies. Trump doesn't need the lie to be believable. He just needs it to exist. He'll fart out this idea that Biden incited January 6th, even though Trump was literally president. He'll wrap Chris Wray and James Comey into it. He'll say they got caught lying and demand Bondi prosecute them. And his supporters, the people he claims to fight for, become the collateral damage in his revenge fantasy. Because here's the brutal truth. Trump has contempt for his own voters. He thinks you'll believe that 2 + 2 = 5 if he says it loud enough. He thinks you won't notice that he was president on January 6th. He thinks you'll lap up any lie, no matter how obvious, as long as it owns the libs. That's not respect. That's disdain. And it's on full display every time he posts one of these rants. So what happens next? Watch Pam Bondi. If she opens investigations into Comey, Wray, Schiff, or James, we'll know Trump's directives are being followed. Watch the courts. Any prosecutions that come out of this conspiracy theory will face immediate constitutional challenges. Violations of defendants' rights, abuse of prosecutorial power, lack of evidence, and watch Trump's Truth Social. Every time he issues a do-something decree, he's telling us exactly who he wants punished and why. Here's my prediction. More likely than not, Bondi will announce some kind of review or investigation into January 6th, framed as uncovering FBI misconduct. It won't result in criminal charges because there's no evidence, but it'll generate headlines and feed the narrative that Trump was the real victim. Less likely but still possible. Bondi goes after lower-level officials at the FBI to satisfy Trump's demand for scalps without triggering a full-blown constitutional crisis. Least likely, she refuses. Career prosecutors resign en masse in protest. The system holds. I hope I'm wrong about that last one being least likely. But hope isn't a strategy. So here's what you can do. Pay attention to who gets charged and why. When the DOJ announces an indictment, ask, is this based on evidence or is this someone Trump named in a post? Track the timelines. If investigations open within days of Trump's public demands, that's not coincidence. That's corruption in real time. And demand your representatives, whoever they are, speak up. Silence in the face of this isn't neutrality. It's complicity. The rule of law doesn't defend itself. It depends on people noticing when it's under attack and saying so. Trump wants you to believe this is all noise, that it's just him being Trump, that none of it matters. But it does. Because once the Justice Department becomes a tool for personal revenge, it stops serving justice for anyone. And that includes you. So here's my question for you. Who do you think should be the next to push back against this? Congress, the courts, or career prosecutors inside the DOJ? Drop your answer in the comments. If this breakdown helped you see through the noise, subscribe for more clear, fact-first analysis.